I watched this. Yeah, I did. I was gonna make a follow-up on it, but I'm always fucking my thoughts out. And I can't wait for the comments to say I'm being nitpicky, um, because I have genuine criticism. And it annoys people. I don't know the overall perception of this movie. I'm hoping it's negative because it really should be. But also, the 11K Legends movies, well, Scottish Adventure heavily praised, undeserved. That movie's not good. It's the best 11K Legends movie by default of not doing extremely weird shit. Okay, it does, but not as much as these movies. Battle of Realms, I don't know, it's very mixed. Some people enjoy it. I don't know why. I know people realize it's really bad. And I thought, Battle Royale's worst MK movie. So that's Snowblind here, and I expect it to at least be better than Battle Royales because yeah, it does have some nuance to it. I don't like I don't like the majority of this nuance. It's a really terrible premise. Um, Mortal Kombat should not be some wasteland apocalypse story. I don't like them to begin with. They're just fucking depressing, and they're not actually that unique because you can all basically compare them. You know, hey, any zombie apocalypse, point to this. Hey, any like fucking savage group, point to the motherfuckers from Mad Max. That is literally Black Dragon, by the way. The characters from Mad Max. And it's so weird. It's so weird. I no script for this one, and it's not really giving me much editing. There's some images I'll show later. Even if I did want to show screenshots, like I could be asked to do that. I don't like the copyright specifics on this movie, so I'm just not gonna. I'm willing to share a piracy site link if anyone cares to see this shit for themselves, like out of curiosity. I did it to see if there's any good ideas, any stuff I can take away, and also to get a better understanding of the dogs in it. To start off with, hey, this movie's actually out from like yesterday. And I was like, what? And I was being told all this ludicrous shit, and I'm like, oh my god, they don't know about our elves. So, I look up clips on YouTube. There's a small handful because nobody cares about the MK Legends series. It is extremely obscure, even amongst MK fandom. Like you'll go to like r/Mortal Kombat, see people's thoughts. No one's talked about it there. Nobody cares about this movie. I don't. Like in the grand scheme of things, like give it a week or two. I won't care about this. Really. Oh, sorry, I'm sniffing. I have a cold right now. Yeah, I think it's a cold. I might be dying. Oh God. I'd rather die after seeing an MK Legends movie because they kind of set up for another one in this. And considering they managed to follow up on the One Being and the One Realm storyline, they can really just continue. They'll find some contrived BS way to do it, and that terrifies me. I'm guessing what I was gonna say WWE then. WB is gonna cancel this. Like cancel any future projects. I mean, well, they just won't like allow greenlit any new ones. Considering how much shit they've been canceling, right? I feel like the only reason this got released is because it was already ready. You might as well not cancel it, just chuck it out. Is my assumption. Otherwise, I have no clue how this movie came to be. Not a single clue. But yeah, the Black Dragon. Those are the main antagonists of this movie. And they actually get some time by default of there only being three heroes. Yeah, there's Kenshi, Sub-Zero, and Scorpion. Scorpion's existence in this movie has no context. Sub-Zero burns down his farm to summon him, which isn't explained. How that works isn't explained. And it's just like, oh, you eat me or whatever. Yeah, he just shows up. And then they have some like weird deal that isn't explained. At the end of the movie, Sub-Zero goes to hell with Scorpion. for no real reason. I'm assuming it's because, okay, we're jumping the gun here. Um, but basically, with the apocalypse stuff, Sub-Zero like lost control of his ice powers, which is really dumb. You know, we've seen Frost lose control of the ice powers, particularly with the Dragon Medallion. That's due to inexperience. How this movie portrays it is that cryomancy, in its nature, is uncontrollable, which is so dumb. What a terrible idea. So yeah, Sub-Zero does a fucking ice storm and it kills his entire clan. I'm assuming that's why I'm to Frost in this movie series. Which, yeah, Sub-Zero mentoring someone and it's not Frost. Really dumb. I'm sorry. This entire movie could have just been Frost in place of Kenshi. Kenshi himself, incredibly bland. I couldn't give less of a toss about Kenshi and Snowblind. And I in a way I appreciate the fact that they care enough to give a 3-year character a movie. Like that is insane. Like again, this movie's existence is so insane. Again, I don't think it was real. And rightfully so, because the information around it is so ludicrous. But now I realise that it's just MK Legends, and it's absurd and stupid. Kenshi starts off with basically a fucking Casanova. He's like flirting with women or whatever. We don't see Suchin though, despite that. Because yeah, all his backstory really covered is like a single scene leading to him getting a sword. They start with him, like he does go from town to town, looking for worthy challenges, like his original backstory. And I'm like, hey, you guys looked at his wiki page. That's impressive. For like MK Legends standards, that's really cool. You guys read a bio. Bravo. But even then, there's still inconsistencies to the original story. Obviously, with the Earth realm it's set in, like it's literally called the Wastelands, and there's no like actual like town. There's K Town, that's the only name one, and I think there's like some other like different towns. They all look so samey that's really unclear when a scene's being shot in the main town or one of the other ones. But yeah, yeah, like so, stuff happens, and like we actually see Shang Tsung as Song, offering help. And again, it was really cool to see like like Song in a movie. What the fuck? Insane, insane. I wish it was good though, you know, because it's not. It's really not. But before I get into all that, go to the other characters, you know. So yeah. By discussing like Sub-Zero, like making an ice storm, basically the Link was trying to like stop this essentially a zombie apocalypse. It's called the Revenants, even though they're not actually anything like the Revenants we've seen and stuff. In one shot, they look like husks from Fortnite. They look really dumb. Nightwolf is one of the Revenants, which is just sad. You know that's why has he been reduced to movie cameos? He's a noticeable name. I don't know why this has happened. Like I get if it was a 3D character, I definitely wouldn't like it. But that's how they treat 3D characters. But Nightwolf, I don't know. Nightwolf is like one of my favorite trilogy characters, like original trilogy as well. So yeah, that's a shame, but he avoids being written awfully, so at least it's that. So obviously the other heroes is really unclear. I'm guessing the assumption is, well, they're just revenants, they got caught in the apocalypse, which is really dumb. I'm sorry, I can't believe that a generic zombie apocalypse, just because they call it the Revenants, would mean all these heroes would die. I don't believe it. And then you got the apocalypse, like wasteland style stuff, which still doesn't really add up, you know? Like I don't see how the Revenants could cause like that scenery. You'll understand what I mean when you look at the movie. If you do, again, I'm not recommending you watch it. I'm recommending you get like someone's summary, such as mine. I mean, This summary is going to be all over the place because I've got no script and I don't care to give it a script. But yeah, if you're curious about what happens in the movie, this is what this is for. And yeah, it's not worth watching. It's certainly not worth buying. If you are going to watch this, pirate it. WB, especially right now, does not deserve your money. Especially not for this hot garbage. Like, no chance. No chance. So yeah, that is the whole reason, like, all shams. Also, the other reason, like, why the old like like Earthrealm's ruined into wastelands is because of war. Which again is an example of an MK Legends non-explanation. This is classic modern MK. There's a few more of these non-explanations that they use to explain stuff, which obviously they fail at. I don't even know why they try with these explanations because they're not good. They really aren't sufficient. So yeah, it's really dumb. If you're gonna bother giving an explanation of stuff, please explain it properly. You know, my problem with like modern MK as a whole is they don't explain anything. I can enjoy something way more, like everything just makes sense. And as from experience, especially from experience of writing a Mortal Kombat reboot, making sense of everything, easiest part of writing, by far. It is so easy to come up with an explanation. Obviously, some things are hard to explain, but if you can't explain something, don't do it, you know? And this premise is just something that shouldn't have been done. It's not Mortal Kombat, and it's not it's not something nuanced that we can take away and put into a future game or whatever. At least I hope not, because it's dumb. It's just depressing edgelord Mad Max shit. And I don't get the appeal. I guess you like the post-apocalyptic stories. You're going like this, maybe? I don't know. I have no feelings for like apocalypse stories, really. Except like zombie ones, I guess. Which I think, yeah, The Walking Dead is way better than this. If this is what our closest comparisons to, it's just weird. It's just weird, and I want new stuff in MK. This was not, and there are some like a new stuff that kind of interests me. We'll get to it. It's really odd. So yeah, back to the Black Dragon as characters, because again we've only got the three heroes: Kenshi, Sub-Zero, and Scorpion shows up for the sake of Scorpion. He wasn't even marketed, so I'm guessing they just did it under a misconception that Scorpion's like a necessity and everything. He's not. He was not needed in this movie at all. And in the end, like they kind of overshadowed Kenshi doing the Fire and Ice team up again. I'm so sick of it. The amount of go-away hate Sub and Scorpion have with me, especially as allies, is ridiculous. I'd rather them be allies than rivals, but my God, I don't care for that friendship. I really don't. Kenshi's friendship with both of them in their respective games where he was is more interesting than their own friendship. But yeah, Black Dragon. Let's get to them. The Black Dragon has a lot of characters, actually. And well, some of the news. So you've got Kano, King Kano in this, which is so dumb. Like he's literally a king, and yeah, he rules the wastelands. It's ridiculous. I appreciate you guys are trying to make Kano work, but stop. I think there's something salvageable with this Kano. I think you're giving it like he has a role that actually meant something for once. But it's a really dumb role that clearly forces him into main position. Like the reasoning he is so powerful is ridiculously contrived and still doesn't actually make sense of anything. It is insane. It is such an insane idea. And I mentioned it numerous times. Kano is my least favorite Mortal Kombat character. But I need to look past that because, yeah, this is a completely new Kano. So do I like King Kano? No, I do not. I think his characterization was very good. I think he's fun. I think especially thanks to the 2021 live action movie, they finally figured out how to make an Australian man out like an Australian man, because they have actual Australian actors and not people doing an Aussie impression. Um, so that helps make like the dialogue feel more legitimate, and that obviously just helps the comedy as a whole because most of his lines just kind of be, "Hey, funny goofball Australian lunatic," and that's fine. I'm completely cool with that. Like as long as I make a big deal out like his nationality constantly, you just like have him say like stuff, and it's like, oh, that's an Aussie saying. That's funny. That's cool. They did it well. Like this is like a perfect Kano characterization, and it's nothing crazy, but that's all Kano needs. I'm hoping we keep going with this. I'm really hoping when we get to the NRS games, and Kano's inevitably going to show up there because they think Kano needs to be in every game. I really hope they ditch the sexist perv for Kano being characterized like this. Do I want to see King Kano return? No. I think the King idea, and he works in a specific universe, I guess. Which, speaking of, it's really unclear if this is actually connected to the previous MK Legends movies or if it's some alternate universe. I couldn't tell you which one. I'm assuming it's a sequel because it can be considered a follow-up. But there's such little context, and it's such a the premise is so weird that it's really hard to tell. So yeah, like the previous Legend movies have nothing to do with it. We see a statue of Liu Kang in, well, it's called K-Town, I think it's the main town. I'm assuming that's the one where the Liu Kang statue is. I can't tell the towns between each other, but one is named K-Town, and that's the main setting. And yeah, there's a Liu Kang statue that the Black Dragon tip over. What to Liu Kang is there explained, so I don't know why they bother showing that as a detail. Again, you got to explain these things if you don't have them pop up. But yeah, and we doesn't know like what country it's in or whatever, because it's just like these wasteland towns in some desert. Because I guess the wastelands mean everywhere's a desert. Cool, I guess. It's a very lame saying, let's be honest. But yeah, so the Black Dragon, they go from town to town, and they show up and just murder people, I guess. Then Kano does like a fucking Hitler speech, which he's gonna do it like twice in this movie, where he's like, hey, pledge loyalty, enemy. Also, they mention like a tax, basically like protection tax. That makes sense for the Black Dragon. It doesn't make sense in this universe, though. Like, because, yeah, it's the base on the apocalypse and stuff. And people seem to be financially stable. It's very odd. Like Kenshi, you mentioned he's made like a bunch of money from like doing fights. I was like, what do you guys use money for? Besides, I guess like essential food and stuff. But even then, why not just become a farmer like Kwai? Which yeah, Kwai is a farmer. We'll get into that. It's actually kind of neat. I'll be honest. But yeah, we're sticking with the Black Dragon. Because we've got some others. And I'll list them off here. You got Cabal, Cobra, Kira, Tremor, Jarek, who shows up for literally 1 second. Kano says Jarek killed his prick. And then Kenshi just slices Jarek in half. Now that is intentionally disrespectful to the character. There is clearly ill intent in using Jarek in this. Like they massacre literally every Black Dragon character in this movie, and it's a horrible portrayal for them. Mortal Kombat does not need to be about death constantly. You don't need to have that. It makes the villains, makes the heroes, look awful when they're doing these over-the-top massacres to clearly redeemable characters. Yeah, it's fucked up. I really don't like it. And yeah. So that's why I'm Mr. Jarek. And then you've also got No Face, which was crazy surprise. Couldn't believe that. Farah, Tor, Dramin, Dairou, And so that's 10. That's 10 guys. So Kano's 11. And Shang Tsung is 12. Shang Tsung's also a Black Dragon member because reasons, I guess. Now, why are Dairou, Dramin, Ferrer, and Tor with the Black Dragon? I couldn't tell you. I really couldn't. You want to know why? Because none of them have any dialogue. None of them are even named. They're just there. And there's a bunch of like no-name, like random Black Dragon goons who are like kind of cool. And they are about as prominent as half of those named characters I just listed. Oh, there's also Eren. Yeah. Of course I forget about Eren. Because it's Eren, you know. Who shows up a bit just to like, you know, friend people with guns. Doesn't talk. But yeah, so yeah, most of them don't talk. Classic MK Legends, and then they just get massacred. But yeah, it's so dumb. Drama literally, we first see him in the background. He's just chilling. Then he shows up like to the side of the other villains when they're torturing Kenshi. So he does nothing. His existence in this movie doesn't contribute to the slightest thing. And what happens after is he gets cut in half. They still have to reach him to be killed. Like, what the fuck? Baffling. You want to talk about a character who deserves his own movie? Dramin is your guy. I still think Dramin is the perfect Mortal Kombat character. Like you're combining everything. He has a perfect design with iconic traits like his mask and his club. He has this very interesting, rich backstory, but it's still open to interpretation because there's some vagueness around it, some mystery around it. You can take some of that. And yeah, it just makes him sympathetic. But also he's got like this ruthless, like crazy, chaotic nature around him. He's really fun in Deception Conquest for like the couple scenes he shows up, which yeah. The fact we didn't get more of that, what a shame. If you had just given him some dialogue at least, you know, because if it means fans will finally stop shitting on the 3D characters unnecessarily, I won't for bringing them back. But this won't make people like them anymore. But I will say I have hope for two characters in this from the 3D era. Cobra and Kira. And also we'll get a Cabal and... I don't even know if I listed Cabal. I don't know. There's a lot of Black Dragon characters basically in this movie. And as a whole, I have pointed out numerous times that the Black Dragon has a ridiculous amount of representation in terms of the clan. And which is why it annoys me so much, but it's always just Kano. And then, like, MK11 retcons Cabal and Eren to specifically being the Black Dragon. Like, I don't know. Also, yeah, they don't explain Eren being the Black Dragon in this. You know, Eren just transitioning to being a Black Dragon because he has guns. It's lame, but it makes more sense than him working for KOTOR, so whatever. It doesn't offend me. It just doesn't help me like Eren anymore. It embodies the fact that he's very boring. But yeah, so the characters I listed are characters who actually speak. Yeah, crazy. Because they had three heroes, they had to give some scenes dedicated to the villains. Tsung and Kane also have some scenes, which we had to. Kane's the only one who like gets a lot of like focus. Unfortunately, which like I said, he's actually characterized well, but yeah, I really don't care about this version of Kano. Or like it's Kano. Come on, give me some. like it's something different for Kano, but I'm tired of seeing Kano. But yeah, so we get like some scenes of Cabal, Cobra, and Kira. We get a couple of scenes with just them. Basically, beat up old man Sub-Zero because he's like carrying Hoon and stuff. And the thing is, it's really weird because the Black Dragon like semi-reasonable, then they just like become not reasonable. Because Cora's just like, hey, old tire, where are you taking that stuff? It's just, you know, because of the wastelands, you just gone now. And so they're just, let's do it. So Cobra being Cobra is a bit angry, which fits Cobra. I think a lot of his and Kira's dialogue is very generic. Their designs are incredibly generic. Kira's design has grown on me a bit. I like the hair. So there's that at least. But Kira always had great hair, so it wasn't a necessary thing. One who pretty good at a new hairstyle, Cobra, because everyone calls him a Ken knockoff. You'd think they'd take the chance to distinguish him from Ken, but no, they made him look more generic. And well, I say more generic than Deception stuff. I actually think he looked generic before. I actually disagree with the notion that he was generic. But, you know, like people saying, hey, Cobra and Kira are just generic as fuck. I don't agree with that. But if you watch just this movie, then that criticism would 100% stand. They just have some generic, like, lines and stuff. They usually steal stuff, and then they get in a Mad Max vehicle. Cabal he has super speed. He uses it for, like, a split flame in, like, the final fight stuff. Which actually gets a lot of time, but there was no, like, proper action beforehand. Not much, at least. So, yeah. And yeah, I just really care for it. And the final fight like had like this snow filter over the whole time, which made it real to see. I skipped through most of it, you know. I just want to see, hey, who gets massacred? Oh right, it's everyone because it's an MK Legends movie. But yeah, Cole doesn't even make it to that massacre because he dies like 20 minutes in just randomly for shock value. Really dumb. Really dumb. But yeah, for while he's here, he's fine. Again, I still think he's on the generic side, but I think he's fine. And I appreciate that Cabal, Kira, and Cobra got some time just between the three of them for a movie. That is a really cool fact. I just don't think there's anything that special. But I think it might have been enough to get some eyes on Cobra and Kira. And fortunately, they do get another scene. Well, they get another two. You know, they show up and kneel before, you know, like before there's a cage match between these two women. Or one is like it's supposed to be like a death match thing, which works, I guess, for Kano. And then the winner's like, no, I'm not gonna kill her, she's hurt. And so Kano just fucking one pumps her, you know, and then kills the other person. He really doesn't care about like the safety of his own allies, even though obviously it's an apocalypse, your resources are limited. You probably don't want as many people as possible. But whatever, gotta be a villain, I guess. And that's the thing, like all the times of Black Dragon murdering this, it feels unnecessary to their goals because they just want to tax people to gain protection money so they can just mess around and do whatever and control stuff. But also if they murder people, then say, hey, pay us protection money. Kind of goes against your purpose. And they continue to murder random people, even if they've, like, pledged loyalty and stuff. So it really doesn't work. But yeah, there is some, like, moral conflict with, like, Cobra, Kira, and Cabal. Cabal especially is like, oh, yeah, I defy Kano. But it's not that cool because he's just power hungry. And again, I don't care for villain Cabal regard, especially this villain Cabal because there's no context for why he's a villain. Yeah, it's just kind of there. I feel like this was an opportunity to establish a different Black Dragon character to mentor Cobra and Kira, and there is someone who put him in perfect candor. And get to. But yeah, and like Cobra's like, nah, King Kano is very dangerous. He's like kind of afraid of him. Doesn't want to fuck around. Well, Kira too. Kira's kind of having fun. like Kira's fun while she's in, and she's in a lot longer than Cobra because she doesn't die like 20 minutes in. But the problem is after the first 20 minutes, they don't get anything after that. So yeah, this is like one of their 3 scenes where they speak and stuff. But yeah, so they find this little like town thing, and Kenshi shows up after flirting with women because that makes such a likable character. And he's a cocky douchebag. Really don't like him. I mean, it fits the description of his backstory self, but I don't care, man. He was unlikable then, and then like once he undergoes like training with Cesaro, he's still unlikable because of how much of a twat he was before. But now he's not like having any quips. He's just now being bland and boring. Like I think he's bland in literally every incarnation of Liu Kang. So I don't know how they've done that. I think he's the blandest protagonist we've seen, like main protagonist we've got in an MK thing. It's cool to say that Kenshi's a main protagonist, but yeah, whatever. I've sad on Kenshi a lot recently as a whole. This doesn't help. I believe he is one of the weaker 3D era characters. Like in terms of the concept, like Kenshi and Havoc are probably like my least favorite in terms of like concept. And yet they're really popular, and it just shows like superficial stuff. Because hey, cool Black Swordsman. I really think this shouldn't have gone to Kenshi. If you want a 3D character, Frost right there. And the thing is, Frost doesn't have an established backstory, so at least then you could somewhat justify all this weirdness. You know, her just being a regular villager, that works. You know, but yeah, I didn't get that. And I could tell if they had done Frost as the protagonist here, would have made such a difference to finally portray Frost as a hero, and it would have just made more sense. You know, this isn't like my character bias is talking. Like it would objectively fit the mold better than Kenshi for this movie, but whatever. The last scene, like a promise, like after the cage thing, where like basically Kano sends him to go confront Kenshi again. This time Tremor shows up. I appreciate that they acknowledge that Tremor is definitely the strongest motherfucker of the Black Dragon, because they give him like a big introduction shit. All his skin is just like the molten lava thing from MKX, and they just make that his whole skin, which is a really cool look for him. I very much like that. And like, because the art style's really goofy, and it's kind of changed a bit for this movie, but it's kind of gotten worse. The animation feels a bit slicker, you know, so I'll give it that much. It's better than Battlegrounds visually, so yeah, but I still think the art style, especially here, is very low quality, you know. I said it when I saw the trailer. It's kind of like it's just a fancy pants fucking story time animator who's done this. So yeah. So after that, well, the cage match thing, yeah. After the cage match thing, got it. Let's go. We gotta confront Kenshi again. This time Tremor's here, and Tremor's like, "Lol, I'm gonna beat the fuck out of you." I still feel like Cobra, Akira, and Cabal, like all three of them, could definitely kick Kenshi's ass, because Kenshi's not a sword this one. Like considering like how she looks at like his like story to like use it here to like reference it essentially. I don't know why he's not a swordsman beforehand. It would make like his rise to being a strong warrior much more credible if he has the actual experience. He gets martial arts experience here though, because yeah, again he did take out Cabal, who has hook swords, and Cobra and Kira. Cobra doesn't show his powers, nor does Kira, and again Cabal only shows it like at the end for like this one split second. So yeah, very very lame. No, you see his powers. Tremor gets to show off his powers though, which is really cool. You know, he kicks Kenshi's ass, which was satisfying because Kenshi's a little shit. So yeah, I guess this is supposed to make us feel sympathetic for him, because after they kick his ass, you know that he's like all sad and stuff. You guys are being like, oh, this super cool dude, Casanova motherfucker, to being this really depressed, desperate man who is suicidal just because Tremor beat him up. It is such a shift in character. It is so inconsistent. I audibly laughed at 1 a.m, me going insane watching this goddamn movie. Yeah, Tremor's cool. He has some good lines. He's chill. It's perfect for Tremor. He has some fun lines. And yeah, Cabal, Cobra, and Kira just kind of cheering along. But yeah, they have such good chemistry together. Cobra, Kira, and Tremor. I feel like Tremor could have just been meant a figure for it. And just like a particular thing I noticed, like Kira was like chanting Tremor, and that's so adorable. I love that. That is like one of like the few like just great things. It's one of a very small few. I find that so adorable. It's weirdly how I envisioned Kira Cobra and Tremor to be the point if you just don't see it enough. And they just don't get enough, so it's just feels generic paired with the fact that like Cobra and Tremor don't get any powers. Tremor definitely isn't generic, he stands out. And again, I implore you guys to look at Kira and Cobra's backstories, their bios from Deception, and there's some really cool stuff. Cobra's backstory especially. Kira's is kind of like missing a few story details, but it's a really good start for the characters. So if this movie has brought some interest to those characters for you, then check Deception out. Deception, Kira and Cobra are actually very interesting, a lot more interesting than they are here. And despite what people said, they are definitely worth looking into. Like if this movie interests you in them. That's all I'm hoping from this movie, right? All I'm hoping is that Cobra and Kira get some love for once. That's all I fucking want from this. If we get that, then this movie didn't contribute more to the franchise than like any other movie at that point. Like please. Like they kind of gave him a chance here, and I appreciate that. I found it mental. I was actually having a good time in these first 20 minutes. It wasn't a good movie, don't get me wrong, because again, Kenshi's so unlikable. I don't like the premise or anything. I feel like it's a rushed introduction and stuff. But I was like, hey, I'm actually having a good time. There are good things I'm pointing out here. Because another thing was, Kwai Lang has this cool friend who I'll get to. I'll get to these characters who I'm bringing up with seemingly no name. But yeah, so there was like, hey, yeah, don't beat up Kenshi, please. And Troy's like, yeah, no, I'm gonna beat him up, beats him up, and then they leave. That's Troy's a scene, but it was done pretty well. It's probably the best scene in the movie, even if again I still have issues with with stuff going on in the scene. But Troy does some cool rock power stuff, like he nearly kills Kenshi by like just surrounding his foot with like just rock, and it forms like a big boulder on his foot. That's fun. Very fun. I think he went a bit over the top with his powers though. Again, another critique of this scene. Because like, yeah, it's the first example of stuff that definitely should have killed Kenshi. I guess the first one was the fact that the trio of Cobra, Kira, and Gaval could absolutely beat up Kenshi before he even gets his powers or sword. Like, it's so ridiculous. And yeah, no credibility for the villains here except Tremor. Tremor and King Kane are the incredible villains. Not even Shang Tsung, which I'll get to now because Kano sent Tsung to watch him to make sure they weren't planning on betraying them because like been showing signs of like defecting, which is interesting. That's an interesting sort of like an arc for these guys. Maybe they do split off from. I'm trying like Cabal's even like, hey, we talked about this, and he's like, hey, maybe we take this town, and stuff. And then they just decide not to, I guess, off screen. Like, I don't know why they set this up. And then like after the scene, like genuinely, there's nothing to come from these three characters. I mean, Tremor still gets at least one cool fight scene. One way is kind of credible, like he gets like a 1v1 with Kenshi. He's essentially the sub boss, before Kano. But yeah, Shang Tsung. He sends Shang Tsung to make sure they're not planning to betray him. Why would you pick Shang Tsung for that? It's Shang Tsung. And yeah, Shang Tsung's like, he does like a gesture to like Tremor and it gets him to stop. Yeah, Sub-Zero doesn't save Tremor. Shang Tsung does. It's really weird. I like the first scene with Shang Tsung. Because again, he's like this really skinny, desperate dude. And you feel bad for him, especially in this universe where, again, if we're looking at just MK Legends, he hasn't actually done much wrong. He's just come across like kind of an insane dude. He like he's not this big bad in this series, really. He's just kind of a dude. And he's on the poster. I don't get why, because he dies pretty soon after this. Because I thought they'd at the very least, you have Kano be just a pawn for Shang Tsung, become the greater threat. But no, Shang Tsung is here, I presume, maybe just for the accuracy of Kenshi's backstory. But obviously it's still inaccurate, so I don't get why they even bothered. Yeah, like he shows up, he's like, hey, I'm Song. I appreciate the callback to Dairou lines. I think it's so insane to hear Shang Tsung saying I'm Song and we get to see this backstory in a movie. That's crazy. If only this depiction of the backstory was actually done well and wasn't brushed. But and again, like him using the name Shang, like Shang Tsung or just Shang, that wouldn't blow your identity away, dude. It just wouldn't. Because the Wastelands, it's not like you can just Google your name, like, holy shit, you're evil. Like even when Shang Tsung like introduced stuff, I'm Shang Tsung, Kenshi's still not saying his name. He's like, I think of a name, but yeah, it doesn't ring a bell. So he just said he's Shang, wouldn't have belonged it. So yeah, him calling himself Song, it was so unnecessary. But yeah, this old dude. And when I first saw him in the trailer, I was like, oh my god, it's Song. Like, that was my first thought. I'm like, oh, this is going to be Song. And that's cool. For what it's worth, that is cool. But yeah, so he's like, oh, he's some help and stuff. And he mentions like a sword. And Kenshi, because he's now this desperate sad man because he got beat up once, is like, yes, a sword. I need a sword. And he sounds really desperate. Oh, it's well, I might as well point out, I think like all the voice work for this is perfectly fine. I don't think Cobra really fits him and doesn't help him not feel generic in this movie. And I think everything else is decent enough. They got the MK11 Scorpion guy to voice Old Man Kwai, and again, I know that it's really noticeable, so I don't like it. Not as noticeable as the MK11 Liu Kang guy just putting on the same voice for Kung Lao, because that just felt racist as fuck. But yeah, here it's fine. I still think that voice actor Ron should just voice Scorpion. He's better than Patrick Sykes at doing Scorpion. He, in MK11 alone, you know, he showed more range of emotion than Scorpion, what being voiced by Sykes, has done in 3 games and 3 movies. I'm sorry, but Angry Man going grrr is not that impressive. And I don't think that the fandom outpour for him is justified. I'm sure he's a fine actor and stuff. I just don't think he's right for Scorpion. Or he hasn't had good material. But also, MK11 Scorpion is definitely not good material. So, yeah. Anyway, I digress. The other voice I have a problem with is whoever the fuck voiced Kenshi. Terrible. What a bland dickhead. It does not help make him likable. Everything about him is just unlikable. He screams unlikable. I hate him. God, he's so terrible. I'm such a no fan. He was the most boring part of this film. He was the thing I cared the least about. All I cared about was the Black Dragon stuff, because they actually started getting... They got these, like, a set of scenes for just them here, as I've covered. But yeah, that was the most interesting bit in it. And it's over like that. So I just thought more about Dragon stuff, and it never happened. Now it's like focus on Kenshi. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense, but I don't care. I don't think Kenshi, again, I'm not that interested in general. I'm definitely not interested in this like incarnation of him, because it's such a weird alternate universe that I don't care about seeing his backstory depicted in this. So yeah, it takes us to this Well of Souls. It's not in the House of Pekora, which is lame. I feel like that would have been a good location for like a final fight anyway. Especially since there's like this, like ancestral like fucking kings and shit. Like you could have stuck the Hourglass here. The Hourglass is involved. It wouldn't make sense, but it make more sense than it being like in the back rooms of this fucking crack den. Like Jesus, it makes no sense. But yeah, I digress. At least the Well of Souls is here, and yeah, Blinds, Kenshi, you know, the classic stuff. And then Shang Tsung's like, oh yeah, hi, I'm actually Shang Tsung. He's like, oh, I don't know who the fuck that is. And he's like, oh, I was a powerful sorcerer, and now I'm going to use my powers to overthrow Kano. And then he throws Kenshi down the well, which, yeah, he definitely should have died from that, but whatever. I want that funny though, like that's an added touch to the original backstory that I like Tsung just chucking him down the well. That fits. That makes sense. At the bottom of the well is the sword, and it helps guide him. Now the credits, we'll get to the credits like after it, like in terms of like what character's credit. Someone's credited for just Sento, so I don't know if that's just like way of summarizing like the ancestral king by just saying, oh, it's Sento. But I have a feeling, knowing how dumb the creators for this are, I feel like they just think Sento is a single ancestor, and it's not just the name of the sword that contains a warrior ancestry collective in the sword. And then I just realized, like, it's ancestral kings. King Kano. They don't make this parallel at all. Oh my god. So missed opportunity with the kings. I don't like it, but they have so many missed opportunities when doing it. And I guess this is a big problem, right? Because when they have these bad ideas, they can't even do them well. Like at least do the, like, at least like have the execution of the concept done well, even if the concept's bad. Because yeah, it is bad. For Mortal Kombat, this is bad. I don't care if you use your alternate universe excuse. It's just not appealing. There's so many things you could put your resources into that would be better for the franchise and would actually contribute more. But yeah, so Shang Tsung goes back to the base. He's rejuvenated. He's a young man again. And he's like, yeah, Kano challenged you. And what Kano was doing beforehand was he had this guy like chained up. And he was literally just throwing axes at him. And he was about to kill him because, again, Kano just kills his men, I guess. And they're fine with that. Like, guys, just rebel. Just overthrow that fucker. He's just going to kill you all himself. And Shang Tsung grabs the axe midair, saves this random dude. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I felt bad for Shang Tsung. Like here, he just comes across as a hero. Like, yeah, he fucked over Kenshi, but Kenshi was a dickhead. He he feels justified here. And he's like, yeah, I'm gonna throw you, Kano, to like fucking like fix the wasteland and stuff. And like, bro sounds like he wants to like do good here. So he challenges Kano, and they have like some big villain fight off thing. I still find it crazy how this is like the first time since like Armageddon we've seen villains square off, and it's Kano and Tsung. Very lame, but whatever. We didn't even get like a fight between like the Day Alliance and Scorpion's Revenge, which was lame. But yeah, this leads to Tsung's death, which is overly gruesome. This is the first example of it. It was ridiculously violent, and it comes across as gross. It's not violence in the cool way or in a fitting thematic way. Like, I find with the ultra violence, if there's like a story reason for it to have such an impact like that, if you just do this and it takes away any impact the violence has, and again, it's just gross. I don't like it, and I don't like saying, "Oh, it's Mortal Kombat." I don't think that's an excuse. Like storytelling 101. Don't fucking do this stuff. And also he has to rip his head off because modern Mortal Kombat's all about just dismembering corpses, I guess. So yeah, basically like tries to like steal his soul, and then Kane's like, haha, I don't have a soul. They don't clarify that, but I assume the explanation is because he cyberized himself, which is a non-explanation, but it is like actual continuity from the games. Like ever since MK3, this has been a thing. They use it. They established this to justify why the Cyberlink way didn't lose their souls to the Soulnado. That happened in the Shao Kahn's invasion. So yeah, that's like in continuity. But the thing is, it doesn't make sense. There's no reason why civilization should like make your soul leave your body. Like from what we know, like if you find explanation, like MK didn't have such a made a big deal out of souls. Because we know about souls, right? Like if you don't have your soul, then you're gonna die. So yeah, it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. But yeah, they do it like a twist, and it's like, haha, I can't actually die. And then kill Shang Tsung. Again, kills him on a poster, not Shang Tsung, which is ridiculous. I thought they'd at least be smart enough. Again, I said this before. They'd be smart enough to have Tsung go through Kano. But no, that's just sad because. And I don't like how they're having Shang Tsung do like good deeds. I feel like it's unintentional. Obviously, they're supposed to make him evil, but I felt bad for him, man. And like going off of what we know of him just in the Legend series, seems like an alright dude. Really does. He doesn't seem like a irredeemable monster. Like no man. Again, I'm not gonna look at other material to get that opinion on him. I'm looking at it like just objectively from the Legends movies. They give me no reason to dislike this dude. Well, they gave me reason to dislike him, but no reason to hate him. I guess because this and Aftermath, nice guy Shang Tsung is better written than evil Shang Tsung. It is ludicrous. It is ludicrous. I want to hear a Shang Tsung now. Fuck my life. But yeah, he's gone. One of the 3 poster characters here, dead in like 25 minutes or whatever. So yeah, now we got like the Kwai Yang and Kenshi training stuff. You know, it's very generic. You know, also worth noting that like Kwai Yang like had a start when we first see him. We see him naked, which is poggers. We see him like get like his vision. He's like, oh brother, no, he's chasing him. I immediately thought, oh my god, Bihan's abusive, which. By the way, Bihan's actually a villain, and also Kwai Yang literally tried to avenge him. So I don't know why they did this. Like, made it seem like, oh, Bihan's evil in his dreams, and he's got PTSD for Bihan. Like, what the fuck? No, it turns out it's just Kwai Yang himself, which is a dumb twist. I don't know why I need to hide that fact. It's like this whole Kwai Yang PTSD stuff is just. Like, I wouldn't even say it's rushed because it does get like a few scenes. I don't care. I do not care for the fact that he massacred his own clan. It's just lame. It's just lame. It makes me like dislike Kwai Yang, obviously. I don't care what he does now. Him massacring another clan does not redeem himself. It really doesn't. I'm glad he goes to hell at the end. He really deserves that. But I don't think they did it. I don't know why they did that at the end for him. I don't think it was because he was a bad man. I don't think that's what they think. There was no way they are self-aware enough to know that modern MK Kwai Yang is just a piece of shit. There's no way they know that, even though they've had him kill his own clan. Accident or not, I don't care. That's dumb. Yeah. That's like the whole thing, because the mentor has like some PTSD. Oh, what a shock. And like, I'm all for like the men and like training the student story stuff, you know, Karate Kid. That's pretty cool. Unless you've seen numerous examples, but that's the first one. That's just the first one that came to mind. But Sub-Zero and Kenshi, I don't care. I skipped through most of this. I'm sorry, I don't care. Kenshi's really bland, and I'm not interested in seeing Old Man Kwai like this. I think he's decent. He's better than Battle of Realms Kwai. But I'm not interested in seeing all this dynamic, because Old Man Kwai teaching Kenshi, it's just very odd. It doesn't fit anywhere in like a game's continuity. It requires a specific set of events to justify this whole thing, you know, like they're gonna be friends and like train each other, that's cool, but not this. I don't care for this dynamic. Now if it was Frost again, I'd be so interested in this. I would be like, this is cool. Farmer Sub-Zero training like this girl he found, dope. That would be dope. And again, like the thing is, Sung is basically only in this movie to connect to like the whole Well of Souls thing to justify Kenshi being blind. And yeah, that's about it for him. I think that's the only reason they included him. They didn't want to do anything with him beyond that. And justification later is that Kano chose him, and he could have chose anyone for the reason we got to later, so it doesn't make sense. But yeah, again, Frost should have been here instead of Kenshi. It's really dumb. You could have just kept like the flirting with women thing for Frost. It would have worked. Well, it worked perfectly. Just swap them out, guys. And then instead of like, actually, you didn't even need the Valid Souls thing. Or that whole thing was essentially filler, just to have him be blinded. You know, it was a sake for obligatory blind man swordsman. So yeah, just like trying to beat up Frost, and then like, so they're like takes back to the farm. Look at me, I have better ideas. See, if they did that, then I'd like, okay, this is a really dumb premise, but they're doing something cool and actually meaningful to the franchise. Kenshi being trained by Old Man Sub-Zero, that's just random. That doesn't achieve anything. So yeah, other training montage stuff, I just skipped to the end bit, really. And it gets a lot of time. I'll give it that much. I don't care though. Also, at one point, Kwai puts a sleeping elixir. So he drugs Kenshi just to get him to go to sleep. You're like, what the fuck? Whatever, man. Just thought I'd point that out, because again, Kwai Yang's not a good dude. He's really not. But I do want to point one thing out. So at the farm, you know, Kwai's actually got like some farm animals, And he has a chicken who gets the Kenshi around catch, and he finally catches him. He's like, oh, victory is mine. And then Qui-Gon being the dickhead he's in, he's like, oh, preparing for supper. Like, what the fuck, dude? And Kenji's like, no, I'm not gonna eat Simone. So yeah, Simone the chicken, best thing from the MK Legends series. I love Simone the chicken. I love him. Look at this shot. Look how hard this image goes. It's amazing. I love it. I love it so much. I just realised I'm looking at my time for this video. I've got 55 minutes. Didn't want to do this long, but yeah, kind of ramblings. But it's going to be quicker now. So yeah, Simone the chicken. We stand. I want him to become a huge meme. Please. I want Simone the chicken to be a recurring character. Either as Kwai or Kenshi's pet. I don't care. I just want Simone the chicken around. Expect him in my fanfic. Expect Simone the chicken in Reborn. I'm confirming it now. Simone the chicken is part of the Reborn roster. You heard it here first, folks. Anyway, back to the dog shit. So, yeah, they eventually go and check on what the Black Dragon's doing after his training and stuff. And yeah, they he's looking through a telescope, binoculars, whatever. I can't remember. But there's this old dude who has the same face as Kwai's friend. But the thing is, Kwai's friend was a black dude, and now this is a Chinese dude. So I don't get it. That I'm assuming they didn't make an oopsie. I'm assuming they're the same character. They're supposed to be different characters, not the same. But yeah, it's weird. Because basically he refuses and kneel before Kano, so Kano's just like, oh yeah, okay, gonna shoot you now. and then Kwai's really sad about it. So why wasn't it just Kwai's friend? Of all the characters you bothered sparing, you spared Kwai's friend who isn't even named in this thing. In the movie itself, in the credits, he might be named. We'll get to that. But yeah, weird. It should have been one entity. I don't know why you did two separate dudes. And I do not get why these unnamed characters get more speaking lines than people like Dramin. It's absurd. Oh my god. They get bigger moments than all the Black Dragon characters. I don't get it. Yeah, Kenshi's like, hey, we should go find him. And Sub-Zero's like, no, we can't find him. Just go back to the farm and live a normal life. Why were you training him to fight then, you idiot? Which, yeah, I literally call this, disgruntled old man who has some, contrived trauma is just going to be oh, we can't fight. So Kenshi's like, okay, I'm going to go fight on my own, which I literally call this nice little trailer. He goes fight on my own. Obviously, they eventually beat him. This is where he kills Jarek, which is cool, I guess. But fuck you, Kenshi. So yeah, he literally just it's over the top. He just slices for everyone. This poor woman gets sliced 5 pieces. It is ridiculously fine. And again, this is a prime example of why the ultra violence does not make the villain does not make the heroes in MK look good, because that's way too unnecessary. Especially since we've seen Cobra and Kira and Cabal, characters like them, be clearly conflicted. We know these people are going to be redeemable, especially considering how badly they've been treated by Kano. It's just fucked up. It's so fucked up. So yeah, he beats him, and then they eventually beat him up, and they just fucking crucify him for some reason. That's where we see Dramin show up, because yeah, he's here now. Eren shoots his fingers off. Well, he had 2 of them. Okay, bit unnecessary, but because they need to torture him. The amount of excuses they need to justify why Kenshi's still alive, it is ridiculous. Kenshi's hey, I want to hear your story. Mate, just kill him. I think it's a story, and it's okay, let's kill him, but slowly. So there's enough time for the guy who trained him. And they even know someone must have trained him. They're suspicious of the old dude, So, yeah, they probably should have just killed him. But anyway, yeah, Sub-Zero in the meantime burns his farm down, summons Scorpion, who agrees to help because reasons, and yeah, Scorpion's just here now. And he shows up for the final fight. And they massacre literally everyone. Scorpion kills a child. Ferret is killed by Scorpion. So you know, like Scorpion's like whole thing is like, how do you get revenge on the guy who massacred my clan? Look what Scorpion's doing here. He's massacring a clan, including killing a child. He's Quan Chi. He's Quan Chi. And again, we've already covered like Kuai Yang and Kenshi a dickhead here. But yeah, Scorpion too, as per usual. Scorpion's just a terrible person who incredibly unlikable. I'm sorry, but being cool does not make you a good hero. So these are just terrible people, just slaughtering these redeemable people. Kenshi unnecessarily beheads Kira, which, yeah, Kira has been around still, but doesn't get anything more. And yeah, just these two deaths and stuff. Like, here's the part where you massacre all the villains, including No Face, who again showed up for like the intro montage of them like murdering motherfuckers in the sea. He even gets like shoot out, like he has like this gun that just like shoots like flame bursts. Motherfucker's got like a Mario fire flower. I like that. But yeah, he just dies. And the only other time he's seen is like in a shot where like Kano like fucking shoots someone and like blood just spats on his face. He's like, oh, that's crazy, man. He just doesn't care. And that's funny. That's very No Face, like walking away from like an explosion and stuff. I'm like, you guys have similar like personality takes to what I have for these characters. Please use them right. It's going to heroes. They're just bad at writing heroes. And the villains who just don't get enough time, you know, and they get murdered. But yeah, Draman has no reason to be the Black Dragon. It's ridiculous how they think they can just chuck in characters who are unassociated factions and then think that we can just go, oh yeah, that's how it's supposed to be. And they're gonna like, how they see it is probably as a cameo, right? But it's not. It's a completely unique individual with a ton of lore. And if anyone cares about that cameo, then they're going to be like, hey, that doesn't make sense. So I don't know who it appeals to. Also, this is where Dairou shows up. He showed up through like this like yellow magic board, like because he has like this yellow like smoke stuff. It's unclarified like how the power works and stuff. But yeah, him being on McPaws, that's fine, I guess. And it's like kind of cool actually because he like shows up and he has his autumn Dow. It's like an accurate design to him. And like he just shows up and like tries to like kill Scorpion from behind. And because you showed off that he has like this crazy power, then yeah, people are going like, hey, who's this guy? It's crazy. But yeah, Scott, like, yeah, he just like misses and then disappears again until like Scorpion eventually kills him. Mental. Dairou, people like Dairou, characters like Dairou, people have waited 16 years to see return. And Dairou and Scorpion having an interaction is really cool. Like, it would be, you know, because both lost their families, both went on the path of vengeance and basically lost everything and now coping in their own ways. Perfect interaction right there. That's the most interesting interaction Scorpion can have with someone, as far as I'm concerned. And this is what you do with that interaction, Chance. What the hell? Also, they never clarify what's going on with the other realms, by the way. So even if Dairou's a mercenary, right, Sado is presumably still okay. They never mention all around, do they? Here, but they don't mention any of the other realms. No mention of Outworld or anything. Which, yeah, presumably Katana is the queen of Outworld, right? Because Shao Kahn's dead. Wouldn't she just offer them refuge until they figure out what's going on with Revenants? You know, that would make sense. But no, they don't answer any of this because they're dumb and they didn't think about the premise at all. They don't care. So the massacre happens. Then Kano reveals that he has a skull of Kronika with Kronika's crown on it. Why is he not wearing the crown? I hate this goddamn crown. I'm so annoyed that it's managed to return. I thought it was a one-off thing. And if we see the Hourglass again or mentions of Kronika. But here we are. He's a king. Have him wear the crown. Please, it just makes sense. How did they miss that? But yeah, he used it to unlock this door into the Hourglass in the back rooms of, again, this like fucking warehouse. And it's there because reasons. How Kano got the Hourglass is never explained. He explains the Hourglass, sort of. How he explains it is kind of irrelevant to anything he's actually done. But yeah, he's like, hey, it's the Hourglass, you know, all the time. And like what he shows on the Hourglass is like, they basically redrew stuff from MK11, even though the stuff from MK11 doesn't make sense with what this is, because what Kano like seems to imply is that he's altered the current universe. He brought the Revenants over and like chose people like specifically just Shang Tsung to like serve him loyally, which he did serve him loyally, so I don't know how that works, you know, and it's weird. It doesn't really make sense, but again, they tried to use non-explanations to explain it. It's really contrived, a contrived way to justify Kano being such a big antagonist. And again, he has no reason to send the Revenants in. It doesn't really make sense. I don't see how it benefits him. Like, of all the things you could have done to be the ruler, you think you'd want an actual world to rule and not just a fucking wasteland, you know? But whatever, you know, it's done. Okay, he's talking to Kwai Yang when he does this, because yeah, the final fight for the Kenshi movie is Kwai Yang versus Kano in the Hourglass. I don't know why. Yeah, it's so weird. They find like the weird like swirling things that are like between the cogs for the Hourglass. That's cool. You know, I think that's a neat location for a fight scene. And like, yeah, Kano is just like has like his head fucking grinded in like one of the cogs. And that's it. Sub-Zero and Scorpion use some weird ass magic to destroy the Hourglass. Like they just send it into like the void, I guess. And just make it turn into a portal by using ice and fire. I don't know why. And so that implies that the Hourglass isn't supposed to be there. It's like a portable thing. Which is how I said the Hourglass should have been. It shouldn't have had like a set location in the universe. It should have just been a thing that shows up when Kronika interferes with the current timeline. But yeah, he doesn't make sense. And things like he mentions Kronika, like this is Kronika's Hourglass. And he also says Kronika's skull, I'm presuming, because what's wearing the crown. But he doesn't mention like what happened. He doesn't mention like him killing Kronika or anything. Also, again, because it's kind of implying like he has connections to like the MK11 universe. Even though what the point he's making is like, oh, the current universe. So is it a multiverse thing or what? It just raises more questions. Again, ridiculous shit like this, it doesn't answer any questions. I can't believe they use the Hourglass to try and explain this. Like, that's not going to help. It's absurd. Absolutely absurd. Get rid of the Hourglass, please. Like, Jesus. Actually ridiculous. So, yeah. Then Scott's like, hey, you go to hell now. Why? I don't know. So he's like, well, I made a promise. I don't know what a promise is. And then he says, hey, Kenshi, you are the Lin Kuei now. Like, fuck off. Fuck off. You should say that line for Frost. Why is Kenshi Lin Kuei now? And then Sub-Zero's like, hey, you find, like, new warriors and stuff to, like, help the wasteland. And then he leaves. Like, okay, I guess. And again, like, that kind of sets up, like, a sequel, like, Kenshi, like, building a new Lin Kuei. I have no interest at all in seeing that. The only thing I'd be interested in is seeing, like, how ridiculous the ragtag group of heroes would be. Like, if you just pull in, like, just this whack group, then sure. But yeah, I have no interest in seeing this continue. I can't believe they continued after the One Being stuff in the One Realm. I feel like you could have used the One Realm to, like, justify the Wastelands, like, say, like, that was an after effect. Because the One Realm is, like, that fucks up reality, doesn't it? So, you think they use that as a reason? But no, they just kind of ignore that. Which, again, because they ignore, like, all the past movie stuff, I don't know if this is in continuity with the previous two, or is this just some AU. I don't know. But yeah, just hit 1 hour and 8 minutes. And that about covers the movie, you know, as 2 hours, which I think is a bit longer than the usual one, because I think the others are like 80 minutes. So, and he's had some more time. It doesn't feel like it. Everything still felt rushed. Terrible movie. As I said it would be. Everything I said in my trailer movie, I stand by. So, you fucking twats making those shitty comments, critiquing my critique, fuck you. Okay, like, watch the movie and try and defend that. I want to see what contrived shit you guys can pull up with. But there's still something I want to talk about. I made this list from some of my friends on Discord of the pros, you know, and these are the ones I've covered. This is literally genuinely the only pros I have. And the last 2 points, literally no one else will unironically care about. But I'm going to talk about them anyway. So there's 3 new named Earthrealm characters. You have Peter, Graji, I don't know how you pronounce that, and Kindra. And also Simone the chicken. Shout out. So, who are these guys? Well, if you look at the cast, this is how I know they exist as named people. Even though these are names that I never dropped. And yeah, congratulations, guys. You actually spelled all the names correctly. You know there's some details wrong, like Kwai Lang just being Kwai Lang, and then Scorpion is Scorpion. Like, shouldn't you just, like, use that aliases? Whatever. You know, they got the names right and stuff. Shout out Battlegrounds, which has Scarlet and like fucking Shao Kahn with, which is KHN, and a bunch of other stuff like Louis Kang they had on the credits. It was terrible. Really showed what little care went into that movie. Here feels like a bit more into it, but again, like the absurdity of the final half of the movie, just I can't say which movie I dislike more at this point. I feel like Snowblind has like a more that you can take away from Battlegrounds because you know it's got like some nuance to it, so there's some stuff you can salvage, like particularly these three characters, which again is only really important for me as fanfic writer because like they're gonna ever reappear ever again. So you've got Owner. Now I believe this dude's Owner, who's got like Cobra shrubs when like they find this new town. He sounds like Patrick Seitz. I'm assuming it's Patrick Seitz. And obviously he's got like the apron and he owns a fruit store, so Owner would fit his description probably the best. And also he's not really like that important, so I'd assume they just haven't like thought of a name for him. But there's also this dude, the friend of Kuai Liang. This dude who also owns a store because like he's like trading with like Kuai Liang for like his crops and stuff. So I assume he owns a store. So Owner could also match his description, but he doesn't sound like it's Patrick Seitz. So I assume it ain't. And then also I think this could be Peter. But I'm leaning more towards the old guy who Kano shoots to being Peter because he's like a Chinese man and the VA is Chinese. But the problem is I can't really identify his voice because all he's known for is being like very stereotypical American dad Chinese characters. So yeah, it doesn't help. But and it could be Patrick Swayze because it doesn't really sound like it's not like a noticeably like Asian accent or anything. I mean, no, it couldn't be Patrick Swayze. I mean, what? No. It could be no name because like one of these is a no name. Like Owner is either Kwai's friend or the generic store dude I showed you, and Peter is either this dude or Kwai's friend. That's the triangle we've got here. So now I got clarified. I will show you the other two characters who are a lot more interesting to me. I presume the two cage match women are Graji and Kindra. Graji on the left, Kindra on the right. These are determined the VAs for this one. Again, I'm not 100% certain, but these are the only like other women who have like speaking roles. Again, like the five I've shown you, ones that have like actual lines. I mean, there's also these two women who like giggle because like this man's hitting on them, like they're clearly married. Kenshi, fuck off. Could be them. I assume they wouldn't hire like very qualified actresses just to do some giggling. But I don't know. This company's ridiculous, so they could have really done that. But yeah, what I'm sticking to is that these are the two named characters. And they're black trainers, and they can play capable of fighting. Kindra on the right has like these gauntlets that like kind of like draw these knife things out. And also like, you know, the other one, I don't think I pronounce it anymore because I'm really confused by it. Probably should chat before I start recording this, but whatever. Yeah, she wins, and she's like, yeah, I'm not gonna kill her. So, yeah, there's some care there. There's some depth. Like obviously just one scene, but it's enough to like salvage them, and they're more prominent than like most of the Black Shining characters in this movie, which is crazy. So I really do think these two characters are genuinely the biggest takeaway from this movie, which is shocking. And I know most people aren't even going to care about them, but as a fan figure, I'm going to care about them and I'm going to use them, actually do stuff with them. But yeah. Those are the characters, you know. And again, there's no real confirmation for it. I'm just assuming that I might miss some of the characters who happen to speak. I don't know. Let me know. But I do appreciate they care enough to like name them. I just think they should name them in the movie, obviously, because it's very weird. I tried to subtitles. Subtitles don't like say names, except for Cabal because Cabal's wearing a mask, obviously. So yeah. But I'll take it. I will take 3 new characters. These two, and then an old dude who might be Kawhi's friend called Peter. The 2 different old men, we could basically treat them as the same character. Like I said, it makes no sense that they bothered doing 2 different guys. So yeah, you can just combine the concepts of them. And then there's the store owner dude who, we don't care about. But yeah, I thought it was worth clarifying that. But since I mentioned my fanfic, this is my DeviantArt, check it out. I will link to this in the description. And my fanfiction.net account. I just recently released Chapter 86 of Mortal Kombat Reborn, which is over 400,000 words long. If you want some good MK content, that's actually kind of a lot of time and effort put into it, and has like a lot of characters who are treated with respect and stuff. Check it out, please. Please, fucking hell. I can't believe we have shit like MK Legends. Not official, like I think this is the time to like support, fanfics and stuff like that. I should just stand up to like the bad storytelling and stuff. But stand up to the characters who are disrespecting this, The 3D era ones in particular, like Kira, Cobra, Drama, and Dairou. They deserve so much more respect. So if you hate those characters, I'd probably do some fucking research about them. Because most 3D era characters know nothing about their lore. And since, again, this is a story, because it's a movie, I assume everyone watching cares about the lore. So yeah, again, if you're a lore fan, why would you like this? I don't get it. I don't get any appeal to it. But yeah, this just motivates me to continue writing better Mortal Kombat content. Amongst other stuff, I do some other side projects like a Mario and a Star Wars fic. I have a short Hades story as well. And I do like these bio things as well. I do a lot of stuff. So, yeah. If you're interested in good story stuff, just check it out. Check the description. But for now, I'm going to leave it at that. Snowblinds, you get a 1 out of 10. The 1 is for Simone, because he is number 1. Thanks for watching. Bye.